The clue really is in the name with cross stitch, because ideally you'll be creating a cross. Thousands of cross stitches can be used to form pixelated images and creations, which is what we see in traditional cross stitch patterns. A more simple use of cross-shaped stitches can be used in stitchery to create more detail even on their own. I'll use cross stitch for lettering, embellishment, filling spaces, line work, and creating stars on my work. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using Lennox from my namesake range with cottage garden threads. We'll start with the traditional diagonal cross. Start by bringing your needle up at the starting point of the first line of your cross. I like to start in the bottom left-hand corner. Take it to the top right-hand corner of the cross and go back through the fabric. Bring your needle back up at the bottom right-hand corner of the cross and cross your thread over the first stitch before going back through the fabric at the top left corner. And now you've created your first cross. Continue stitching the crosses, stitching the first diagonal stitch in the same direction each time to keep consistency in your design. Once you've finished your work, turn your hoop over, tie your thread off, and snip clean. If you're doing a row of cross stitches in succession, you may find it easier to do all of your first stitches at once. Then work back with all of your second stitches to complete the crosses. This will also avoid getting caught in those spaces where the needle may need to go down and come up again in the same hole. Once you've gotten to the end of your line, bring your needle back up through the fabric the same way as before and start working in the opposite direction. When you get to the end of your line, turn over your fabric, tie off your thread and snip clean. And now you have a row of beautifully joined cross stitches. Although everyone usually thinks of the traditional diagonal cross stitch, don't forget that crosses can also be formed by vertical and horizontal lines. These work the exact same way. Like the diagonal cross stitches, I like to make sure that my crosses are quite uniform by always stitching the first stitch in the same direction each time. For example, I'll be sure to stitch the bottom to top first and then the left to right stitch second, just to keep the continuity in my work. When you get to the end of your line, flip your work over, tie your thread off and snip clean. To create a row of upright crosses, stitch all of the vertical lines first and then come back to complete the horizontal lines using a backstitch technique. Once you get to the end of your line, turn your work over, tie your thread off and snip clean. And now we've got both our diagonal cross stitches and our upright cross stitches. So now you know how to cross stitch. Thanks for watching.